Good Sunday morning, folks, and thanks for joining us on Inside the Valley. I hope you are all having a fantastic and relaxing weekend. Joining us on the show this morning, we are talking to the folks from Texas-Oregon Sharing Alliance. We have Edwina P. Garza, you are the Senior Communications Coordinator, and we're talking to Anjanette Gonzalez. Now, you are actually awaiting a kidney, is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you both so much for coming in. I really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about the Alliance and kind of, you know, all the workings behind it and kind of how you found them and then how it all works.
Sure. Yeah, we're in Central and South Texas. Our local office here is in McAllen, and we're responsible for over 6 million people. And our job is we have a mission to save lives through the power of organ donation. And so what we do is, aside from trying to educate the community on the importance of donation, getting people registered, our job is to help facilitate the process when a family says yes to donation, or if an individual themselves has registered to save lives through organ donation. So what we do is we go out in the community with our donor families and our recipients to share their story, because when I talk about the numbers, 22 people pass away every day. We can save 8 lives as organ donors. It takes a couple minutes to sign up. When you hear from the person who's living it or who lived it, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, most definitely. And so, Anjanette, how long have you been waiting for a kidney?
I've been waiting since October of 2011.
Wow.
So I'm just now starting my 7th year waiting, and that's actually what brought me to TOSA, is the fact that none of my family members are eligible, or we are not a match. And I've had a couple of friends also attempt to be what they call a living donor, but again, none of them match with me or were not able to pass the process. And so just being a person in need, realizing, and just talking to family and friends who were unaware, that's what brought me to TOSA. And just because my need is there, and just to get the word out. And so, and like Edwina said, because there are 22 patients die a day waiting for organs, and there's also the process takes so long when you need an organ. And so just to get the word out, if there's a bigger supply, then that helps.
Most definitely. And so how can people kind of participate, or to say, I want to be an organ donor, or maybe they're watching and they say, I want to see if I can help, what can they do?
Right. Well, the most common way that so many of us sign up is when we get our ID or our license. They're always asking us there at DPS. DPS registers about 100,000 people every single month. So they're the reason that our registry has grown so much. But people can always sign up online. Our website is tosa1.org. We've got all kinds of information that goes over the myths and misconceptions, and you can also sign up there anytime. And what's important is we want people to also share their decision with their family. Sometimes people say, I told my family that I want to be a donor, but I haven't registered. But we think that in that moment of loss, there's so much that's going on, you may not remember that conversation. And so that's why it's important to go ahead and sign up, and that takes care of that, but also let your family know. That way, when our team comes in, once their loved one has passed away, it's not a total surprise that they are registered to save lives. And so it's such a rare opportunity to be able to be a donor. It just takes that burden from your family from having to make that decision at a very difficult time.
Most definitely. And I know we spoke a little bit about the myths and misconceptions the last time, a little bit about how people do think that if there's ever an accident or something that they're not going to be treated as, trying to save their life. And that's definitely not the case at all. Of course, doctors, that's their job, is to save their patients no matter what, and not to do that. But so prior to, were you an organ donor always? Or does this kind of open your eyes a little bit more as far as you can do this on your license and stuff like that?
No, actually I had always been an organ donor. So even before my need came about, my family, we've always pretty much been organ donors. And but in this process, just realizing, and now of course I'm a real big advocate, and I'm always like, every time I meet somebody, I'm like, by the way, are you an organ donor? And so it's amazing, and it's actually very interesting, especially in our community, to see and realize how many people are not organ donors. And again, because there are so many cultural myths, so many religious myths that are still prevalent. you know, and so to debunk those and to talk to people and get them to understanding and answer those questions is really important. And so that's kind of been, I guess, my new calling. And so
advocating for it. And
yes.
being an advocate and talking to, I'm sure, a ton of people that you meet and encounter with, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you had to kind of ease their mind with, or tell them, no, that's actually not true, or the one that you confronted the most?
Definitely for me, it's been the one that you've already mentioned, that people are like, oh, you know, the doctor is going to let me die on the table. And it's like, no, you're their number one priority. And so that's actually been the biggest one I've faced. The other is just also the fact that people are like, oh, you don't want my organs, like, you know, I'm old, or I've been sick myself. And it's also educating people that it's not just what we typically consider organs, like heart, liver, and lungs, and kidneys, but there's also the possibility to donate tissue, your eyes, bones, veins. You know, there's so many other things that we can donate, and there's so many lives that one donor can impact that people are unaware, and it just takes 1 second to be a hero to somebody else.
Most definitely, you could change someone's life without even knowing it, and it's just by signing up for something like that. So what is the process to kind of sign up? I know you can go to DPS when you're renewing your license or doing that.
Yeah, so that's like the most common way is this 8-word question: do you want to be an organ donor, yes or no? And so if you say yes, they're going to put a red heart on your license. Of course, when you sign up online at tosa1.org, it's just basic information, you know, your contact info, and it's just things to be sure that we have the correct patient. So what's special about our registry is it doesn't matter how old you are. Anybody of any age can sign up. It doesn't matter if you're here legally or not. If you want to sign up and be a part of our registry, you can do that. When we're asking people for identification information, we're asking for either last 4 digits of your social, a Texas ID number, or your mother's maiden name. So if you're not here legally or you're not from Texas, you can still sign up by just supplying a mother's maiden name, and that's just so that we know when we're presenting a family with a registry, this is the correct person.
This is the person, most definitely. And have you been able to have donor and I guess the recipient meet and kind of say, this is, you know, who helped you and this is who you helped?
Yeah, they're very rare meetings and they're always so touching to be able to see those. I've been a part of a couple of meetings before, and it's really great to be able to connect these two families that maybe have been exchanging emails or phone calls and things like that, and sometimes it takes a really long time. We have a volunteer who she received her transplant as a baby, and her parents had been writing thank you cards and letters ever since they got that transplant, and they never heard back. And so Chantel had said, you know, what if I write them? What if they hear from me? Maybe that's what they want. Because she received her transplant from another young baby. And so she wrote her letter to say thank you, and that's the letter they responded to. So, you know, it takes a long time, and we tell our recipients and our donor families likewise, because for one reason or another, the other party isn't responding, and it's just, you know, the grief or the guilt sometimes that a recipient feels. But we do have those, and they're always so touching to see, because it's great to be able to see your gift in action.
Most definitely. And it's very easy to sign up, like you mentioned. You can go online, or you can go to your local DPS office. And of course, people, if you are currently watching and you are an organ donor, and if you would like to sign up, you can go to tosa1.org or give a call to 630-0884. The number's on your screen. And you could be helping, you know, so many people. You and Jeanette, you could be getting the help that you definitely most certainly should be receiving. And of course, all those other people that are awaiting themselves. So definitely go and sign up. I'm an organ donor. I think everybody here definitely should be an organ donor. But thank you both ladies so much for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. All right, folks. Well, when we come back, we are talking about our Heart of the Valley Helping Hand project. We've got all that information on how you can participate when we come back.